Hey everybody, it's Norm from Tested, and welcome back to Projections, our show about virtual reality and augmented reality. And this week, I'm going to be talking to you about an upcoming game that comes out in just about a week and a half's time. No, it's not Half-Life Alyx, though that does come out on March 23rd. But that same week, there's another game for the Oculus Quest, as well as other VR platforms. In fact, all of them that I'm very excited for, and that's The Room VR: A Dark Matter from Fireproof Games. It's the latest in a series of puzzle games that were previously designed for mobile devices, iPads, Nintendo Switch. There is a PC version as well, but it's the first of the Room series of puzzle games that's made for VR headsets. And I got a chance to play some of this game, two of the levels, the two first levels, I believe, back at Oculus Connect, and did an interview with developers back there, but wasn't able to show that experience until recently. I was able to get an early build, a preview build of the Room VR and capture some footage. Now, it is a puzzle game. It's kind of a bit of an escape room game, so I'm going to try to present the footage in a way that won't spoil the puzzles. You won't exactly know what's going on, but I want to give you a sense of how you actually get around the world. So when you think escape room style puzzle game and VR, these are genres that go really well hand in hand. We've seen some great examples of them for VR. I Expect You to Die is a wonderful kind of escape room game, and it's all kind of in one place. You remember that from Schnell Games. You're kind of sitting at desks, and you reach out, or in the car, or in the driver's seat, and you grab objects and manipulate things. Here in The Room, because of its namesake, it's actually putting you in physical environments. And these are pretty detailed rooms. The environments are all based on turn of the century period. It's very Lovecraftian. There's a lot of great atmosphere, pretty creepy at times. But the rooms themselves are not just rooms, they're full-fledged environments, from offices to the underbelly of a museum. Now, I want to get something out there. It is teleport-based locomotion. So while I did play this on the Oculus Quest and was able to freely 360 move around, there are nodes that you basically jump to. And when I first played this preview back late last year at OC6, I really resisted that teleport locomotion. What I really wanted in my head from a VR escape room game was the ability to walk around, use free locomotion, and kind of explore all the detail that the developers and level designers have put in. Look under desks, kind of manipulate objects and behind doors. And what I quickly realized is, while that might work for a real-world escape room where there are just discrete objects that you can physically interact with, in our VR space, that actually becomes really overwhelming really fast. Because the game, even as it is, when I'm teleporting between these half dozen or so nodes in a level, it's pretty challenging. I'm actually really glad about the ability to really zip between the points and jump between them to look at the objects in front of me, look around, and solve these puzzles and focus on the puzzles that are there, as opposed to trying to find the puzzles in the room themselves. I could see myself easily mistaking something for being a puzzle when it's not. The puzzles themselves are wonderfully designed. Again, trying not to give away any spoilers, but it's a mix of kind of matching objects, whether it's shapes or symbols, to dexterity puzzles, where you're actually manipulating them with your touch controllers or your motion controllers. Although with the manipulation side, at least in the first two levels, it's mostly single hand manipulation. You're grabbing things and turning them or lifting them. There's not a lot of the two-handed manipulation that I think would make better use of VR hand controllers and hand presence. Everything is kind of near field, so the depth is really great, and you can kind of look in and move your head and kind of move the objects around. The animations for the puzzles boxes themselves are really lovely. They're really intricately designed mechanical puzzles that I think would be almost impossible to design in the real world, that work really well in a virtual environment. Now, with every type of escape room or puzzle game, you're bound to risk the players getting stuck because they might be missing a clue. And that actually happened to me a couple times. I definitely had that moment where I spent 10 minutes just standing in front of 2 or 3 of these locations and just was scratching my head, and I couldn't figure out what I was missing. I felt like I had grabbed items in my inventory and manipulated them or tried to manipulate them with every single object that I could put that was in front of me, until there was the one thing that I missed. And there is a pretty good hint system that you can use and access from the menu to just drag down, which you can turn on and off. It's not the type of hint system that automatically lights up an object or plays a voiceover when you've been stuck for too long. You have to proactively select the hint and say, okay, give me something to work on. And the way they've written the hints, which I've played after a second time through to read what they were, are actually really, really good. They're little mini puzzles within themselves, so they don't feel like they're making it too easy. Some of the tools you're manipulating are handheld objects. There is this lens that you use to kind of see into a kind of ghost-like dream world. It's green tinted, and you see objects a little differently. It's almost like shining ultraviolet light into a room, into some symbols that you might not see. And that part's kind of spooky. There are no jump scares that I could tell so far, but it is an isolating game. It's not multiplayer. It's not that type of social escape room experience where you're working with someone. You are just by yourself, oftentimes standing there. And I admit, I looked over my shoulder a couple times because I didn't know if something was changing in the room without me actually having activated it. And thankfully, none of that actually manifested. It is what's in front of you is there, and if there is any creepy moment, it's because you activated something and an animation unfurls. I was only able to play, again, the first 2 levels, and apparently the later levels it gets deeper, there are more puzzles, it gets harder, of course, and it made me want to continue on for sure. And it also made me reevaluate my stance of wanting this game to have complete free locomotion. I think it's going to play great with teleporting to those nodes, and I think the best way to play it is probably on something that will let you do a full 360 turnaround, so you're not feeling constantly tethered. I did play on the Quest. It was wonderful there. And actually made me want to go back to previous versions of The Room and play some of the other puzzle games in that series. The way I've been told is that some of the lessons and some of the iterative puzzle design elements that you see in those past games may actually build on into this game as well. It's called The Room VR, A Dark Matter. I'm really looking forward to it coming out. It's on Oculus, it's on Steam, it's on PSVR as well, but you'll need the motion controllers, and it's out on March 26th. And we'll be back next time with more coverage of, yes, that game that you're anticipating on March 23rd, Half-Life Alyx, and we'll be back then and see you then. Thanks for watching.